All right, folks, let's talk about planets. CIG made Planetech back in 2016-ish, 15-ish, whatever. It launched to the game at the end of 2017. And since then, they've been updating planets here and there every year or two, every few years, with different things that make them cooler, better, more fun, more performant, more variety, diversified. Now, we can go back to our previous year's CitizenCon, where they were talking about some of the improvements they were making to the way that these planets were being made. Throughout this whole time, I want you to keep in mind and take note of what planet they're using for all of these showcases. There's not a name on this planet, but you can kind of tell from the biomes they're using.
So, how do we make that?
Move forward a little bit more. It's more and more, you know? Not like this is Crusader. There is a lot of stuff in this video. I'm not going to run you guys through all of it, but you can see like even things like the tree scattering has changed a lot with their new Planetech.
And in a second, we'll flip over to what you can expect from the new upcoming tech.
So a lot of updates, and then you get into like the biomes. They start sharing biomes.
High temperature.
What biomes you guys working on? High heat, high temperature, high moisture, resulting in swamps. These are very exciting, and honestly, I think most people, myself included, thought these would be Terra that they show up on. Jumping forward, we've also got your good old-fashioned medium temperature, high humidity jungles. Now, to be quite honest, I could see this being a thing in Hurston. And I'm not saying all of this stuff is going to show up right away in the game. Primarily, this video, in my mind, is about Planetech changing. And that's because in the 4.3.1 loading screen, we are seeing talk of terraforming. Generally, these loading screens are talking about things that are upcoming and will be happening soon. I promise I'm gonna tie all this back to make some sense. Some sense. Not an overwhelming amount, but some. After jungles, they also showed us forests. This now makes the most sense for being something that comes to a planet like Microtech. But ultimately, I think the terraforming is just a way for them to introduce a whole bunch of new biomes and have some fun with it. All right. So, hey, GII folks. I see you. Literally repping the shirt. GII jersey, what's up? Anyways, so these are some of the things that they were showing us, how they wanted to be changing planets and their biomes and stuff like that. Now, if you go back to this thread, where Ali Brown's actually talking about the progress on this system, he'll say that the progress is going well. It's a major focus. They're going to probably start with one planet before rolling it out to others and more diverse biomes. So it'll probably be a rework first, right? A chance for them to update the biomes that already exist on a planet, which I do think forests give them the opportunity to do that because we kind of already have forests in the planet. They're just not quite this dense, not quite this impressive. Goes on to say, as for the specific tech features, most of the infrastructure is now done, but there are a few important visual features left, and then 2 major tech changes to achieve the desired performance, and then a bunch of smaller tasks. If I had to put a percentage done on it, maybe 75%, but it's incredibly hard to be precise. 2 things. Ali Brown is working one of the leads on implementing Vulcan. Vulcan is a big stopgap in getting things implemented into the game, because when they're designing the game and building these things, they either need to build things to run on the Vulcan environment or on the DX11 environment. And they haven't done an addition from all of this dev stuff they're working on, all this engineering backend stuff, since before the beginning of this year. And that's because theories have it that is because Vulcan hasn't been able to come in and allow them to keep moving forward. Stuff like engineering, the fire hazards, things like that. Some of us do believe that those things can't work without Vulcan being the rendering engine by default. So some of the stuff he might be talking about now is stuff that has to do with Vulcan. 75% complete in July. This is what, 2 months ago? I wouldn't say to read too much into that being soon per se, but it does line up with some of these things they're talking about. So now if we go to the actual game and we hit the loading screen, we can look at where all this speculation even comes from, which is their own, seems to be laying a little bit of the groundwork, some small breadcrumbs here and there to get people thinking about changing planets. Not saying that means they're going to change to Planetech V5, but it does seem like a fairly straightforward precursor. Re-terraformation of settled worlds here on the left-hand side. I'm going to save this screen just in case. Citing the numerous technological advances made in the past few decades, a new startup claims they could adjust the harsh climates on several previously terraformed worlds. While some are heralding the potential opportunity to address past mistakes, we'll get back to that. Critics say that the risk of having another Mars tragedy is too high. Everything that comes onto these loading screens generally has to do with stuff going on in the game. There's like little blurbs that are extra fluff, but a lot of this is this stuff going on with gameplay. We've got regen crisis here in the middle, and then we've got some more stuff about the regen situation going on over here that kind of leads into the Onyx facilities. So then there's that terraforming bit on the left-hand side, and they talk about having previous mistakes that are going to be fixed. Now, if you go back to yet another lore drop, looking into Microtech, you will see that the history tells you, wait for it, founded on Earth in 2782 by programmer Magnus Tobin. Today, Microtech is headquartered in New Babbage on their privately owned planet of Microtech. The planet's cold temperature is ideal for the company's heat-sensitive computing and manufacturing centers. Widespread use of the this does not explain... okay, I'll go to the official one. Maybe they talk about it. Ideal for their Microtech's heat-sensitive... Wait a second. Did they change the lore for Microtech? That really throws a wrench into my theory here. Not only UE law, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't think it's here anymore. Microtech. Essentially, when they first released Microtech, or the whole game first system in general, Stanton, with all the different planets, they had reasons for the different things to be a certain way. Crusader was a place where the UEE wanted to build shipyards, but they realized it was too expensive, so they ended up getting rid of the shipyards. See, now this is saying that they do have, but this is like the AI summary. Where is it getting that information from? Okay, here we go. Microtech had its own thing. It's a terraformed planet Thus, it is livable, breathable, primarily contains nitrogen and oxygen and trace amounts of argon and carbon dioxide. However, due to a terraforming accident, it actually says it up here, the temperature of Microtech is the result of an error during the UEE terraforming process, which led to an unusually dense cloud production. Microtech produces mobiGlas here, a now standard piece of digital assistive technology. So it is, at least on this website page, still built into the fact that this planet is known to have been a terraforming problem or mistake. It does seem to be the place where they are consistently hosting a lot of the improvements that they want to show us for Planet Tech V2.
And this will mean our planets will evolve through the year, and we'll be able to...
And we know that Planet Tech V2 is on the way. Now, if you were going to consider the options for them to do Planet Tech V2, or V5, whatever, the new form of Planet Tech being introduced, you can either choose between Microtech, Hurston, or Pyro's planets. Maybe they'll use one of Pyro's planets. But I do think that all of these signs are pointing towards Microtech getting terraformed sometime soon, and probably laying back a little bit on how freezing cold it is everywhere and snowy, and getting a little bit more into these diverse biomes, the rocks scattering, the trees changing, the forest changing, rivers, lakes, all that kind of stuff is going to change, and I think they just want there to be some kind of cheeky lore description for why it's happening suddenly. So, I don't know if this is an end of the year kind of thing. 75% done with the system in July does not mean it is going to be done anytime soon. It could always take 90% of the time for that last 10%. We don't know. But I think it's coming, and they're hinting at it. And generally when there's stuff in the loading screen, it's only a quarter or two away. Well, not even a quarter or two. It's only like a month or two away. So this could be something that they're planning for 4.4. Just tentatively putting that out there. We can come back to that if I'm wrong or right. Either way. Little update on Microtech and stuff.